Being told that wrestling is cyclical will go on forever, and don't let the irony of that statement go over your head. When an idea explodes, you only have to wait a few years before a wrestling promotion will try and do it again. Well, except for the evil general manager, which refuses to go away and will likely outlive us all. Sometimes, however, these moments switch around and we get to see them in reverse, which is not only unexpected, but it's quite cool. Makes for good social media chat until inevitably someone tells you to fuck off, but that's just Twitter. Let's look at the best of them though, and I don't mean occasions where trolls told me to go away using rude language. I'm Simon from What Culture. Remember to hit that subscribe button, and this is 8 times legendary wrestling moments were reversed. Number 8, briefcase buddies. There are only 2 people in the history of the Money in the Bank briefcase to cash in on each other. I'll give you a few seconds to think. It is of course Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins. The first was way back at WrestleMania 31 when Seth Rollins shocked the world and stole the WWE title out of Lesnar's and Roman Reigns' hands, and in doing so, took an event people were skeptical about and turned it into a damn fun few hours. And sure, the man who likes to burn things down got the visual pin over the big dog, but who cares? Fast forward to 2019 and the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, and after Rollins had battled alongside his beau Becky Lynch against Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans and won, outmarched Brock and exacted his revenge by cashing in his briefcase on Rollins. Call that poetic justice. It's also kind of cool it was for the 2 different versions of WWE's top title, and one day maybe they'll do this again over the Intercontinental Championship. That will never happen, but I can but dream. Number 7, Thumb Wars. After Randy Orton won the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam 2004, he was not greeted with love by his Evolution teammates. In fact, while he was being paraded around on Batista's shoulders on the following night's Raw and getting a big thumbs up from Triple H, it soon went bad when the game flipped his hand over to reveal the dreaded thumbs down. Big Dave dropped Orton from up on high and the turn was on. Randy got beaten up and then some. 6 months later, though, we did get this role reversed when it came to Batista's decision about which champion he should face after winning the 2005 Royal Rumble. It had been teased that Dave would go after the SmackDown champion as he held a contract in his arms, but at the last minute he stared a hole through Triple H before flipping his own thumb in the down direction. The symbolism wasn't lost on the audience. Batista then attacked Trips and Ric Flair, which set up a match between them at that year's WrestleMania. It was wonderful all around too, as WWE let this simmer and build, with this moment being one we still look back on fondly today. Who knew a thumb had so much power? And yes, that sounds really weird. Number 6, final 2 to first 2. The ending to the 2007 Royal Rumble is probably the best finish that event has ever spat out to date. Coming down to The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, the pair basically started to have an actual match, not something fans were used to when we were down to the final duo. It worked wonderfully well though, as the level of skill and quality they both achieved was better than some actual pay-per-view main events. They went about 8 minutes and the twists and turns put out there proved how much chemistry Taker and HBK had together. It was the dead man who got the upper hand and went on to win the World Championship at Mania 23, whereas Michaels was in a losing effort against John Cena at the same event. To get an immediate pop out of the crowd at the 2008 Rumble, WWE reversed this by having Taker and Shawn at numbers 1 and 2. The fans knew what was up straight away and went crazy, especially when it was Michaels who got his own revenge from 12 months ago by taking out The Undertaker. Neither won it, of course, but this was still an excellent booking decision that served its purpose perfectly. Number 5, DIY lights up NXT. At 2017's NXT TakeOver, fans saw DIY implode as Tommaso Ciampa went full-on bad guy by attacking partner Johnny Gargano and throwing his ass through the LED boards at the entranceway. Because Gargano is the most sympathetic babyface ever, the fans were livid and they wanted Ciampa's head on a stick. This was unfortunately put on hold as Tommaso had to go away for a while to sort out an injured knee, but the rivalry would resume as soon as he was back, as he once again went and attacked his former friend. This consumed Johnny so much though that he lost his mind to the darkness and even teamed up with his rival as he worked through some serious issues. It wasn't to last, however, and was more of a ruse, because as soon as the reformed DIY had lost to Ricochet and Aleister Black in the Dusty Classic, Gargano went after Ciampa before he could get him first. And how did he inflict serious damage? By grabbing him and throwing him through some entranceway LED boards. It was a lovely touch that the pair continued to do throughout their rivalry, and for anyone who had been invested since the start, it really was very special indeed. Number 4, Iron Mike floors everybody in the WWE. In a genius move as WWE built to WrestleMania 14, Mike Tyson was brought in to spice things up. It worked as fans and non-fans were so intrigued to see what the former boxing champion was going to do, so they all tuned in before falling in love with one Stone Cold Steve Austin. Then they decided to stay around. It was the perfect use of an outside celebrity. There was some toing and froing as Tyson aligned himself with DX before revealing it was all a big lie, and he was actually buddies with the Rattlesnake. Mike punched out Shawn Michaels at the end of Mania and celebrated with Steve to end the show. Jumping ahead 12 years to 2010, Tyson was back in a WWE ring, although now he was once again joining D-Generation X and also knocking out another legend. As before, it was the person he was meant to be friends with, because even though he was tagging with Chris Jericho, Tyson thwonked him right in the jaw, proving that you can never trust Iron Mike. It was still pretty cool, even if this time it was happening on a random episode of Raw. And who would have thought this relationship would have been a thing back in 1998, let alone still going strong in a completely different decade. Probably taught Y2J a few lessons as well. And if any superstar in the future decides to team with Tyson, well, more fool them. Number 3, Milk It. We all remember when Stone Cold Steve Austin drove a beer truck to the ring and sprayed alcohol all over the Rock, Vince McMahon and their crew. Something we still talk about today, and somehow it's still fun. Seeing Vince flip-flopping all over the mat as if he was a dying fish is timeless, and a testament to how much of a fool he was always willing to allow himself to be. Always going to be brought back, the way it was done turned some heads. Coming at a time where Austin had turned heel and joined the Alliance in the war against the WWF, one of the main players on the other side was Kurt Angle. Given that he was more of a smiling, cookie-eating kind of face though, couldn't come out with some Bud Light in his vehicle. He needed something more wholesome and nutritious, which is why whoever came up with milk should be knighted. And therefore in August 2001 on Raw, Angle covered the Rattlesnake and these evil invaders with the white stuff, as once again they all hurled themselves around like they were about to die. The highlight, or lowlight, came when JR screamed, "Milkamania, it's running wild!" Which makes no sense for the record, but damn if this wasn't a lot of fun and a lovely callback to a spot that will probably rear its head again one day. How could it not? Number 2, Shocked Undertaker Guy meets Shocked Undertaker. You want to know how this video came to be? We here at What Culture HQ saw this picture of Shocked Undertaker Guy acting like The Undertaker meeting The Undertaker, who was acting like Shocked Undertaker Guy, and that was that. Keep up with that, well done, but then the idea was born. When The Undertaker did lose his WrestleMania undefeated streak though, people were genuinely stunned. It was never meant to end in the first place, so the fact that it did and did so out of nowhere ruined everybody's lives. They sat there shocked, trying to figure out if something had gone wrong and why WWE would give this nod to Brock Lesnar. Forget the fact it clearly worked, this was all hogwash. The impact, however, can never be forgotten simply because it was dead silent. This soon shifted into anger and sadness, but the one face that summed it up best was a fan called Ellis Mbay, who looked as though he'd just seen a ghost. His wide eyes became meme material for years. It was the perfect reaction to a moment we will never forget. It clearly made it all the way to the dead man himself, as when Ellis met Taker at WrestleMania 32, the pair swapped roles. It was just a good old time. A nice reminder why wrestling can be so cool every now and then when we're not yelling at each other on the internet. Number 1, Austin and The Rock trash each other's titles. After deciding he was bored of whooping The Rock's ass, Stone Cold Steve Austin just decided to give up the IC Championship and handed it to the Great One in December 1997. Austin claimed he had bigger fish to fry, e.g. the world title, but even then he wasn't going to make life easy for Rocky. Even after he gave over the belt, Steve stunned The Rock out of his shoes and then stole it back. This led to another famous scene in WWE history as he took the lump of silver outside to a nearby bridge and just chucked it into the water. The People's Champ couldn't believe what he had seen and made it look like his eyes were about to explode. Fast forward 18 months and The Rock saw time to get some payback, taking Austin's Smoking Skull title, which of course was the WWE Championship. The most electrifying man in sports entertainment went to another bridge and threw this one into the dark blue too. Never one to be outdone, The Rock went one step further because he also hurled Austin into the river. The best thing about that is on the Know Your Role VHS that came out soon after this, The Rock laughed about the fact he could have killed Stone Cold if he hadn't have got out in time. I'm not making that up either, I still laugh about it to this day. Basically, The Rock's intentions were to actually end the life of Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I guess that's why they used to call it the Attitude Era. Ain't no way that's flying when it's all PG. Know of any other legendary wrestling moments that were reversed? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Then head over to whatculture.com and read yourself some articles, and follow What Culture on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. My name is Simon from What Culture. My voice hurts a little bit, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, and if you're a fan of what you've just seen, then make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for daily wrestling podcasts, where we not only review Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live, we also discuss the events before and after of pay-per-views. We have roundtable discussions discussing burning wrestling issues, interviews, and a roundup of the week, complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on wrestle culture. Thanks for watching. I've been Adam from What Culture, and I'll see you soon.